Hello and welcome to Granada Reports.
Hello, thanks for joining us this evening on the programme tonight.
As it's announced, live facial recognition cameras will be rolled out across parts of Greater Manchester. We look at what that means for you.
Those who are not on the wanted list of serious criminals, those images are not held, they are immediately deleted. But what they are able to do is to identify those who are potentially the most wanted criminals.
Police forces are also being advised to reveal the nationality of suspects in high-profile cases. I'm live with the details.
The pictures that tell 1,000 words. The author making sure the Forgotten Army's experiences don't stay that way.
The study that saved Brian's life and may help to save many more athletes.
And the current very hot spell of weather is due to come to an end, but what do we have ahead? I've got all the details later on.
So please do stay with us. But first tonight, live facial recognition technology is set to be rolled out across parts of the region, while the public will be given more information about those suspected of a crime in measures announced today.
Yeah, it's in a bid to make our community safer and to stop the spread of misinformation, which in turn it's hoped will prevent potential rioting. And the scenes like we witnessed last summer after false rumours began following the Southport attacks.
Well, in a moment, we'll be live with our correspondent Anne O'Connor, who's at Merseyside Police HQ. But first, we can cross to Westminster and our political correspondent, Leisha Manali. And Leisha, Greater Manchester Police are set to trial these new facial recognition vans.
Yes, that's right, Gamal. Now, these vans' cameras can take in live footage from a crowd or street and then use software to check people's faces against police watch lists, looking for matches with any suspects or wanted criminals. Greater Manchester is set to get 2 of the vans, but at the moment we don't know when they'll be deployed and we don't know where. In fact, no one does. And that's because the government says it wants people to have real confidence in this technology, so it's consulting for people's views on how they should best be deployed. The Home Secretary today insisting it will strike the right balance between privacy and protection.
The overwhelming majority of images are deleted in 0.2 seconds. So those who are not on the wanted list of serious criminals, those images are not held, they are immediately deleted. But what they are able to do is to identify those who are potentially the most wanted criminals, those who should be facing the court.
But not everyone is convinced, and some civil liberties groups and academics have warned about the potential implications this could have on things like privacy, free speech and the right to protest, particularly the impact it could have on more marginalised communities, those who already feel they are over-policed and where trust in law enforcement is at an all-time low.
Whenever we see the introduction of new forms of technology, and we see this historically and we see this contemporarily as well, we see that it is used most forcefully, most harmfully against communities of colour, against people of colour, particularly black communities. On top of that, we know that baked into this technology is an inability to recognise the faces of people of colour, and again, specifically black communities, which can lead to misidentification, which leads to arrests and criminalisation and all kinds of problems.
Now, Greater Manchester Police says it welcomes these vans as an additional policing tool, but it will be really transparent with the public about how they're going to be used and will stay in line with any national guidelines. The government is set to publish those guidelines in the autumn. They're hoping, of course, that it will help them catch the most dangerous criminals, while innocent civilians will pass through the system virtually undetected.
OK, Leisha, thank you.
Well, Anne O'Connor is in Liverpool for us tonight. And Anne, the new guidance around releasing information about suspects, that'll be particularly interesting for Merseyside Police, won't it?
Yeah, very much. Last July, the force didn't release details about the teenager who murdered 3 children in Southport, and that was seen as one of the many factors that gave rise to lies and misinformation that he was an asylum seeker, of course fueling rioting here and across the UK. In May, officers pretty swiftly said that a man arrested after a car had ploughed into the crowd at the Liverpool Victory Parade was white British, thus stemming what it thought might be a terror attack. Today, guidance from National Police Chiefs Council is that forces should consider releasing the nationality or the ethnicity of suspects in high-profile cases. I think the challenge that police have got is that we live in a very different social media world now, where information does spread very quickly, and sometimes that information is false, whether deliberately or unintentional. So I think, the police have to change the way they do things. They have to try and get that information out there, but they obviously have to make sure they're protecting that criminal justice process, and that's always been the balance and the challenge for policing, to not, prejudice any trial that might come down the line.
And that is exactly why others oppose it. Fears about fair trials.
How does that impact a jury that might have their own prejudices? I don't know. How does that impact a bail application? Does ethnicity become then key to what's happening in the criminal justice system? So I think that it has to, the ramifications of this within the system has to be thought about carefully.
This is only interim advice, part of a wider review we'll hear about later in the year.
OK, Anne in Liverpool, thank you.
And there's more on those stories on the ITV National News. Here's Mary with the details.
Coming up on tonight's ITV Evening News, police forces are to share suspects' ethnicity and nationality, and not everyone's in favour. We'll have reaction. The European wildfires forcing thousands to flee their homes. And why this branding is simply not cricket. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, in other news tonight, the Manchester Arena bomb plotter Hashim Abedi has been charged with 3 counts of attempted murder after 4 prison officers were injured during an attack earlier this year. Abedi has also been charged with assault and possessing a knife or offensive weapon. The incident took place at HMP Frankland in County Durham in April. Abedi is due in court next month and remains in prison.
A man's denied dangerous driving and fraud charges at Liverpool Crown Court, alleging his electric Jaguar had gone out of control when it was stopped speeding it up to 100 miles per hour. Nathan Owen from North Wales rang police saying that the brakes wouldn't work as it sped along the M57, 58 and 62 in March last year. The prosecution allege he had been trying to get rid of the vehicle to avoid paying remaining finance on it.
Police in Lancashire are appealing for witnesses after a woman was taken against her will from a cinema. Officers say it happened on Saturday at the View in Blackburn. The woman, who's in her 20s, was later found safe. Police say a man also in his 20s was assaulted. 2 men, aged 37 and 22, have been arrested on suspicion of GBH and kidnap.
Well, next tonight, into the Manchester-based charity which has been awarded a global humanitarian prize for its work in clearing landmines.
Yeah, the Mines Advisory Group has been selected as the 2025 recipient of the Conrad N. Hilton Humanitarian Prize. It's a very prestigious annual award which honours a non-profit organisation leading efforts to alleviate human suffering.
Well, they joined us in the studio earlier to talk about the award, but first let's take a look at what they do.
The landscape of Vietnam wears its age with a quiet dignity. But beneath the soil of this Southeast Asian country are remnants of a war-torn past. Across the globe and in around 80 countries, there are children who play and families that farm knowing every step could be their last. And for more than 30 years, the Mines Advisory Group has worked tirelessly to make a difference. Based in Manchester, its teams of more than 5,000 staff around the world dedicates their lives to removing unexploded bombs, an effort that saw it join an international campaign to ban landmines, which was backed by Princess Diana at the time. But in a world where 8 out of 10 people killed or injured by landmines are children, the charity says it's in a desperate race to save lives. In recognition of its work, the group has today won the prestigious Conrad N. Hilton Humanitarian Prize, a £2 million award which will help the charity continue its project. In an increasingly dangerous world, the selection of the charity for the award is a reminder of the good that can be done for communities that have already endured so much hardship.
Wow. Well, earlier, Sarah and Hannah from the Mines Advisory Group came in to talk to us, and we started by asking them just how vital their work is.
The deminers on the ground are the people who are every single day out there removing and destroying landmines and unexploded bombs so that communities are able to use that land. So that might be children walking to school, it might be people accessing water, or it might be people who just simply want to plant crops and grow food for their families. So it's vital.
And you brought with you today some of the equipment that your staff and your teams are using. So the visor, and then obviously
Got
the
safety
vest down
here.
here, the safety vest. I mean, that must be really difficult to work in, but it's so important because you need it to survive, I suppose.
Absolutely. So it's heavy and it is uncomfortable, as you say, but it is absolutely essential to keep our staff safe.
Talk to us, Hannah, about some of the conditions that those deminers are working in every single day.
They're working under a lot of pressure. Of course, if you can imagine that some of the countries in which our staff are based are very hot. So wearing this PPE is very difficult for them. Many of them are from the affected communities, and that again increases the pressure but also increases the determination.
So fundamentally, Hannah, the aim is to rid the world of landmines, but also I'm guessing that education is a big part of it for those communities who are in countries like Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia.
Children are disproportionately affected by some of the unexploded ordnance that we come across. For example, there's a cluster munition here on the table, and that, for a child, that will look like a ball. So it's about kind of equipping them with the information to know that this isn't something safe to play with, so that ultimately they don't get injured if they were to come across one.
It's so great that you guys have won this award, though, because that's going to give a huge boost to your funds, isn't it? So you can carry on
Absolutely.
with the amazing work you're doing. What's it going to mean?
I mean, it's what it's providing us with is the resources and really the platform so that more people can know about our work and more people can support our work. We'd love more people to support MAG and know about the work that we do globally. So this prize, with only the fourth organisation in the UK to win this prize, which is fantastic. Fourth UK organisation. And so, we want to use this opportunity to really accelerate our mission. We want to do more. There's so much more to be done. I think there's 60 million people still trapped by landmines across the globe. MAG's mission is to reach as many of those as we possibly can. So this prize will help us to inform more people about what we do and also to raise more funds so that we can innovate and do even more to reach more people.
Well, guys, many congratulations on receiving this prestigious award. Good to see a Northwest-based charity really, punching way above its weight. It's fantastic news. Congratulations. And Hannah and Sarah, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
so
very
much. Thank you. It's amazing, isn't it, to think that all of that work that's done across the world started right here in Manchester.
Really, really important work going on there.
Well, next tonight to the second of our special reports to mark the 80th anniversary of victory in Japan Day and the final end to World War II on August the 15th, 1945.
Well, tonight we head to the Wirral to meet a local author keeping alive the memory of the so-called Forgotten Army. Men arrived back from the Far East at the end of the war to find life had moved on without them and their contribution to the war efforts unrecognised.
Well, some of those who spent years in Japanese prisoner of war camps risked their lives capturing that incarceration on canvas. Paul Crone's report contains images of the conditions they endured, which you may find distressing.
Take a good look at them. Not that it'll help you to recognise any of them, their own mother couldn't.
If fighting in the jungles of the Far East during World War II tested a soldier to his absolute limits, being imprisoned in a Japanese prisoner of war camp brought a new meaning to hell on earth. Conditions were horrific, treatment by the enemy beyond barbaric, particularly for those working on the infamous Death Railway in Burma, and some men risked everything to capture their lives on canvas. Author Meg Parks from Wirral has written a book about the artwork of British Far East prisoners of war, also known as FIPOs.
They all knew from the outset of captivity that the Japanese forbade any form of record keeping. They couldn't keep diaries. They were told, if you're found with writing materials, drawing materials, there will be dire consequences. And there most certainly were for some unfortunates. This is the only visual that we have of what captivity was like across the whole of the Far East and Southeast Asia. These men were war artists without question.
Meg's father was Captain Athol Duncan, who spent 3.5 years as a POW, working mostly in the dreaded Japanese coal mines. he kept a secret diary of his time in captivity.
They lived in fear, all of them, all FIPO lived in fear daily. They had no idea whether they'd see the evening of each day because of the unpredictability of the guards, the work they were expected to do, the fact they were malnourished and ill. They were beaten up systematically, beaten up. And when they fell to the floor, they were then beaten in the prone position, all of them. And it, in later life, caused him huge problems. He had spinal problems that couldn't be operated on because of the damage done.
The drawings and sketches made by Far East prisoners of war in many ways depict a much more vivid image of life in captivity than any photograph could capture. In most cases, the artwork remained hidden in secret for decades. The reason men simply couldn't tell families and loved ones what they'd been through. The book is a harsh reminder of what British troops endured in captivity. In 2015, we interviewed Charles Elston from the Wirral, a FIPO for over 3 years.
What I found most objectionable was the utter disregard of human life as for instance by enforcing prisoners who attempted escape to dig their own graves and then to shoot them.
Charles Elston passed away in 2016. Meg Park's father, Captain Duncan, did survive the war and died in 1997, aged 78. It's hoped marking the 80th anniversary of Victory in Japan Day won't be the last time we remember the so-called forgotten army.
I hope, my hope is, that as a country we will never forget the sacrifice of our servicemen and women. I hope that happens.
Paul Crone, ITV News.
So important that we do never forget those sacrifices made by those soldiers, those POWs.
Really
Fascinating series of reports from Paul Crone, really bringing home the horrors that those POWs endured at the time.
Harrowing.
Yeah. OK, time for sport now, and we've been catching up with Everton's record-breaking captain ahead of his 17th season with the club. Hi, David.
Yeah, that's right. No player has played more times for Everton than Seamus Coleman. The defender is one of a unique breed of modern footballers. Well, to spend so long at one club, and the club captain will be part of a historic season for the Blues as they begin life in a new stadium after 133 years at Goodison Park. From a £60,000 signing back in the year 2009, Seamus Coleman has become an Everton legend. Now, at the age of 36, the club captain is preparing to begin his 17th season in blue. Well, Seamus, how special is it to have spent so long with one club?
Yeah, very fortunate. I feel very fortunate that I have done. It being like a massive football club in this country and having an amazing fan base, I feel very fortunate that I've got to live in this city for so long and to be part of this football club. So it's been amazing and probably went from a boy to a man really here. Like every year at the end of every season you have a bit of thinking time, but I think with the manager being back this year, I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to help the group in any way I could. That was big for me. Could I play a part? And I think I can. So to stay on has been an easy decision in the end and something that we're all looking forward to with the new stadium as well.
What do you make of that? You got a taste of it against Roma, didn't you? What was that like with full capacity there?
Special day for everyone. I think it's our new home and it takes a while to get used to, but I think come the first Premier League game, home game of the season, the place will be bouncing and let's hope that we can make it a memorable stadium for us going forward.
New stadium, some new faces coming in as well. Jack Grealish obviously getting a lot of the headlines. What do you make of that signing for the club, and what's he like?
Yeah, really nice, normal, humble lad. More importantly for us, he wanted to come here, and I think that's only a good sign for us as well. We're going to get a hungry Jack Grealish, who I'm sure wants to get back in the World Cup squad as well. So very exciting. Great lad, and listen, his football ability speaks for itself.
What are the goals then this season?
I think improve on last year. I think if you look at the form from when this manager came back in, it was like maybe top 8, top 9 form. I don't necessarily want to say that is the target, but I think we've got to improve on last season, and we've also got to start making steps towards getting back to where this football club should be, and that's challenging for Europe and having successful seasons and good cup runs and that.
And for Seamus Coleman, for yourself, could this be a last season? Is the word retirement creeping into the head?
Of course, yeah. Retirement is not far away. Coming in that gate every day is an honour, something that I never take for granted. Listen, retirement's not too far away, and maybe coaching down the line, but as of now, it's staying right for this season and hope we have a good one.
Yeah, good luck to Seamus and Everton this season. Well, it's been the official launch of the new Premier League season in Liverpool as well today. Manchester City go into another campaign with the outcome of more than 100 charges for breaking the league's financial rules still hanging over them. Despite their hearing concluding last December, there's been no ruling yet. City deny any wrongdoing. The league's chief executive has called for patience.
Yeah, but I can't really talk about it. I don't want to apply any pressure to the situation. I have to be patient. It's an independent panel that has heard the charges and is making the decision, is writing that up, and we must leave them to it. And I can't speculate on when that is going to be.
Well, in tonight's EFL Cup, both Bolton and Fleetwood are in first round action. Already through to the second round are Preston, who beat Barrow 1-0. Thanks to an own goal from Charlie Raglan. Stockport County are also into the hat after a 3-1 win over Crewe. Paul Mullin scored his first goal for Wigan from the penalty spot as they beat Notts County 1-0. And Accrington got the better of Peterborough, winning 2-1. Sadly, though, Blackburn, Blackpool and Salford all went out. Well, Tranmere's tie against Burton had to be postponed due to a power cut. That's now been rearranged, and that will take place next Tuesday.
Seamus Coleman, 17 years.
That is incredible for modern footballers these days, where they're moving around all the place. 17 years, unbelievable, unbelievable. What a legend for that club he is.
That is almost as long as you've been at Granada. David Chisnell, almost as long.
Almost, but not quite.
I'm doing the maths now to try and calculate how long I've been.
It's longer than me, and I've been here, what, 12 years now? 5? Ooh. Anyway, enough of that. Finally, tonight we've got a super fit granddad for you who says that taking part in a research study about heart health may have saved his life.
74-year-old Brian Cookson, who's from Lancashire, has always been involved in cycling, even running its international governing body. And after a lifetime of exercise, he never thought that he could have problems with his heart.
And if he hadn't been part of a British Heart Foundation study, he might never have known until it was too late.
Brian Cookson's lived and breathed cycling for more than 70 years. From racing on the track to becoming head of the International Cycling Union, he never thought that the exercise could be harming his heart.
I was riding in the warm-up session, pushing it a little bit and started to feel unwell. I came off the track and sat down and looked at my heart rate monitor, and it was saying, congratulations, new maximum heart rate, 238 beats a minute. Well, that's not good.
At the time, Brian was in a study looking at the heart health of veteran athletes. A special monitor meant doctors could quickly diagnose him with ventricular tachycardia, a potentially life-threatening condition where the heart beats too fast.
The consultant rang me and he said, this is serious, don't do anything more energetic than walking for the next few weeks because we need to get you in and fit you with this device, which is kind of like a smart pacemaker sort of thing.
What could have happened, Brian, if you hadn't been part of this study and found out there was a problem?
Well, the worst thing that could have happened was that my heart stopped, I had a heart attack, and I was no longer on the planet Earth. So I feel absolutely reassured. I do feel that being part of this British Heart Foundation study has saved my life.
The study's helping researchers to understand why sudden cardiac arrest can happen during exercise. Results have already shown that athletes are more likely to have scarring on their hearts. That can mean they're more likely to experience abnormal rhythms, which can be dangerous.
If you had the scarring, you were about 4.5 times more at risk of having one of these dangerous heart rhythms. Cardiac arrest during sport is pretty rare, and I really don't want to put people off doing sport. I think the main message is still keep doing sport, and this is really a very unusual occurrence. My main advice would be, if you're having symptoms, if you're having symptoms like chest pain or breathlessness or something, particularly during exercise, then it's important to see a doctor and get checked out.
Don't assume that just because you're a regular sports person or athlete that you're immune to problems.
But it's not stopped you cycling?
Nothing's going to stop me cycling, and I'm very happy that I can carry on doing it. And the important thing is, look, I'm not going to push it too far.
And you are 70?
I'm 70. I'm 74 and they're not quite ringing the bell on me just yet.
The study is ongoing and is now expanding to look at female endurance athletes too. Victoria Grimes.
74 years young. It's been a glorious day. Will it continue? Here's Joe.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. Hello again. The current hot spell of weather after today beginning to ease off. It's still going to feel very warm through the rest of the week, but from tomorrow a few showers around, less hot conditions, and then settling down into the weekend with temperatures rising steadily and lots of sunshine on offer. During the next 12 to 24 hours, we have an occluded front nudging up from the southwest across the UK. That serves to spin a few showers here into the northwest through the day tomorrow. The air is still relatively warm, so perhaps these could be thundery, and skies should brighten for most places through the afternoon. Back to this evening's details. Quiet, settled, dry, a little bit of mistiness and low cloud, very light winds, and another really warm night for sleeping. Our towns and cities not falling much below 17 or 18 Celsius tonight. On to the details then for tomorrow. The sun will be up at 5:47, setting at 8:43 tomorrow evening. Slightly more cloud around to start the day tomorrow for the northwest of England and the Isle of Man. Skies will brighten, winds pick up just a touch, particularly for our coasts, and we'll begin to see those showers drifting up through the morning. A few sharp ones, but they're really quite well scattered and isolated, so there's plenty of dry weather to come. Bright or sunny spells will get out through the afternoon. And temperature-wise, probably feeling much more manageable, 24, maybe 25 Celsius tomorrow, and turning fine by tomorrow evening. And the outlook, well, if you like sunshine, great news ahead. Friday, Saturday and Sunday, blue skies. Temperatures at around 24 or 25 Celsius by day. UV levels will be high. Take care.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
That's what we like, Joe, a bit more sunshine. Thank you so much. And that is it from us for today. Do you know what day it is, though?
Go on.
It is National Left-Handers
Is
Day.
it really?
It's like a day just for you and me, isn't it? And us and all the other
creative
lefties.
people. See you tomorrow.
Salute you, the lefties.
Bye-bye.
Good night.